done, Rootser. He's done the humour. Weddings, It's always beautiful to see two people, so much to look forward to in their life. A room full of people. Personally, I'm a bachelor by choice. Not my own choice. The choice of every woman I've ever been out with. When Chris first called me and he said, I want you to be my best man, but there's three of us, I thought, okay. What really happened was he was trying to look for one best man, but sadly couldn't find one, so he chose three barely competent ones instead. That's the way I looked at it. Chris and I, when I first met Chris, it was about 20 years ago. He was a scrawny, skinny teenager just out of school. He's no longer a teenager. The rest of it probably still applies. We shared a house in South Africa, a house, a hippie commune, I don't know what it was. It had about 8 bedrooms. We never knew who lived there. We'd go out at night, we'd come home some nights, there'd be 50 people letting themselves into the house. True story. But some of the most special times of my life were in that house, sitting around a bonfire in the morning with a guitar with Chris, chatting shit, and just being ourselves. Great times. I moved on to London a couple of years later. Again, was taken in by not only Chris, but the entire Stops family and other people in the room. You know who you are. I'm going to have to look at my notes now, because if I can read my writing. Yeah. There was a whole bit about the vegetarian thing, but it's been done a long time. You know, I've never considered Chris only as my friend, but also my little brother since the day I've met him. You know, we've had a lot of laughs together. We've helped each other through some really tough times. During the years I've known him, I've seen many sides of him. The sporty Chris, the dreadlock Chris, the hippie Chris, the crystal healing Chris. Yes, that happened. Through all of those phases, though, some things have always stayed the same about him. His positivity, his compassion, his willingness to help everybody around him, and just his love for everything around him. You know, there's maybe three best men here today, but there's only one best man in this room, and that's you yourself, Chris. Rebecca, I only met you yesterday for the first time, but I know two things about you already. You're looking amazing in a wedding dress, and you've got yourself a fantastic husband. Those two things I know for sure. I'd say now the whole Stops family, Heather, Mark, Ricky, Chris, you've all taken care of me at different stages of my life. You're not only getting a great husband, Rebecca, you're getting the best in-laws you could ever wish for in your life.
Yeah.
You know, we have a very old Irish tradition that's sort of brought over by the Vikings, where on the day of a wedding, the bride and the groom were given a supply of honey, wine, or mead that they were given on the full moon to drink during the month as a sign of fertility and as an aphrodisiac, basically. It was full moon yesterday, you missed it by one day. Now mead is, some of you may know I'm moving to South Africa on Tuesday, we're opening a distillery. So what we did for you, myself and your great friend Brett, was, give me a second, I have a prop. You're the proud owner now of the first bottle that ever came out of that distillery, which is honey vodka. Now the issue here is that honey wine is only 12%, and that's an aphrodisiac. This is 4 times stronger. So I'm not sure what's going to happen in between. All I can tell you, I drank a bottle of it last week. I'm still here, so you're not going to die. I did go slightly blind, which might explain my performance on the greens on the golf course yesterday. But my sight's coming back. Last thing I'd like to say, bridesmaids, absolutely amazing today. You all look stunning. Ricky, not too bad. Greg, you know. I know Stu's mentioned it before. I'd just like to say again that I'm bloody proud of you today, boy, and I know that Martin, wherever he is looking down on you, and he's very proud of you as well. If we'd just like to raise a glass again, not a bottle of vodka. I'll raise my vodka. To Mr. and Mrs. Dobbs. Have a fantastic night.
Yeah, cool. I'm probably not going to be as long as those guys. I'm going to do a little more reading, but it's still from the heart. Okay, where do I start? I met Chris back in London in 2002. At the time, he walked into our office, started getting cozy with my now wife, but I'll explain. I didn't have much of a stake on her at the time. She wasn't actually mine, so I didn't really know how to feel. But I quickly figured out that Chris and her were just really awesome mates, and it led to Chris and myself becoming extremely good friends. Okay. We're great mates. Chris is the only friend that we have that when he comes to visit or he phones us, we don't know if he's actually come to see Tanya or come to see me. So I think that's a pretty special friend. It's been said, like a lot of my speech has been said by other people, but I'm just going to run with it anyway. So when we met Chris, he was a tree-hugging, long-haired veggie hippo. Hippo! Veggie hippie. He was never a hippo. So the only thing that's changed though is he gets haircuts and he eats a lot of meat. Chris was my first friend in London. Him and his mates, 14 years ago, him and his mates took me in. Made me feel welcome at a time when, I just arrived, I was on my own. They would invite me over, we'd go play poi. Kev was one of them, and I'll never forget that. Could have been on my own, but they took me in, much the same as everybody else. Such a caring dude. As Kev and everybody else will confirm, we've had many a good party at their Somerset house, burning anything we could, including house doors. I've still got Ricky's Weber with the burnt handle to prove it. Chris is one of those guys that's super friendly and pretty much always a nice guy. He doesn't have much bad to say about other people. And nobody's got anything bad to say about him, which is pretty cool. They say you can judge a man by his friends. They say you can judge a man by his friends. It became quickly evident at his bachelor's party that Chris surrounds himself by a good bunch of guys. Chris attracts all sorts of people and can talk to anybody about anything. He loves factualizationing, but we all know he actually got that from me. Chris and I make an unlikely pair on paper, not much adds up, but we're both fueled by passion and energy and the respect for the outdoors. It's that excitement for life that's taken us through the adventures that we have. Some of them Mexico, spring break time, everybody thought Chris, Tanya and myself were swinging on a threesome swinging couple. It was quite interesting. We weren't, I'll tell you that much. Chris was a dog. We lost Chris for 24 hours. There was a dolphin period. We won't go there. More recently, since we've been to Australia, we've done a lot of camping, or even more recently, Chris has joined me fishing, which is a big passion of mine. In that regard, he's definitely a bad luck charm. If you want to go out for a nice quiet fish, catch lots of fish, don't take Chris. And he doesn't really catch anything, so... We saw a change in Chris when he met Rebecca. He's always been happy, but he had an extra skip in his step. He seemed to grow up very quickly. Things became very serious. He became very serious, but in a good way. It's because he knew what he wanted from the start. So that was pretty cool as well. So we've gotten to know Rebecca slowly over time, and we see just how happy they make each other. Pretty psyched about that. Chris stood beside me on my wedding day, so I couldn't have been more proud to stand next to you today. I know what you've got to look forward to. I can't wait for you to experience the joys of marriage. Rebecca, you got yourself an absolutely awesome husband. There's no doubt about that. Cool. Can you please all raise your glasses and toast to Chris and Rebecca. Cool, that's the listening speeches.
Talk about energy. Shit. Making me look like a fucking sloth up here. Alright. I'm just gonna say I should know Rebecca a lot more than I do. And I'll tell you why. I come down to Manly maybe once a year. Because I love Manly. And I remember meeting Chris at the bar. What is it, Wolf Bar? Yep. And Chris was super nervous. Like, I'm surprised he was that nervous. I was like, "You alright, mate?" He's like, yeah, no. Yeah, I'm okay, man, I'm okay. I was like, "What's happening?" He goes, "Oh, I've got a date." "Oh, okay. Who's your date with?" "Oh, this girl I met online. It's about our third, fourth date." "Oh, okay, cool." "Yeah, no, I'll bring her around to visit you later." "Oh, okay, cool. I'm going to be at the Wolf Bar. Bring her around, you know, we'll have a good job." Stay at the Wolf Bar, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. Chris, no Chris, 5 hour, 6 hour. Next day I saw Chris, I was like, "How did the date go?" "Oh, no, really well." I said, "Oh, it's great, because you said you were going to bring her around to see me." It's Rebecca. And he said, "I didn't want you to fuck it up." Well, guess who's fucking it up? Lucky little kids. Next speaker is a very special man, and obviously a man that never thought he'd see this day. But I'd like to welcome Mr. Stubbs to the mic.